Welcome to Beyond Four Walls. Each week, we sit down with leaders, creators, and change makers to uncover the moments, pivots, and lessons that shape their success in business and life.
Today on Beyond Four Walls, we're joined by Brittany Gray, founder of Fancy Face, a beauty brand that is built on the belief that fancy is a feeling. What began as a luxury hair and makeup service has grown into a full-scale beauty brand known for confidence, creativity, and community. Britt is not only a beauty entrepreneur, but a master of building authentic connections, both in real life and on socials. So today we're going to chat about her journey as a founder, the power of personal branding, and how she's carving out her own unique space in the world of beauty. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
I initially heard about Fancy Face I got married in 2017. And it was like the day of, I was getting ready with my bridal party, and we were at a hotel, and the room next to us was another bridal party who was getting the Fancy Face treatment. And I remember seeing them and thinking they look so glam and gorgeous, but like it was new to me. But that was when I first learned about Fancy Face. Mm-hmm. And then fast forward to this past summer, Monday night, I play tennis in the summer with a group of ladies, and Britt subbed in for somebody. And so we met, and I met you, and I'm thinking, first of all, you came in looking gorgeous and glam. And I'm like, oh my God, who is this girl? Because the rest of us are just, schlepping in. And you looked familiar, but I couldn't place you. Anyway, we had a nice evening of tennis. I met your son. It was all very fun. And then we go to the parking lot, and I see you pull out, and I see your vanity plate, Fancy Face. I'm like, oh, okay.
The dead giveaway.
Yeah. So then I put it all together. Anyway, I'm so happy to reconnect with you now off the tennis court and in real life. Yeah. And so take us to your origin story. How did Fancy Face begin? What were you doing beforehand?
Sure. Well, Fancy Face was founded in 2006, but I feel like my passion for beauty really began probably when I was about 3 years old. My mother put me into dance, which was the best decision she ever made. It was my first love. And as you would know, for recitals, you had to get glam for the recital.
Yes.
And I just remember throughout the years her doing my makeup and then me learning how to do my makeup and the process of going from feeling one way to feeling another way, to just feeling so powerful and to be able to stand in front of audiences and demonstrate what you've been working so hard on all year and to put your best face forward in that moment. I recognized that there was just this wonderful power in that. And fast forward to me being 15 years old, I started wanting to audition for projects. And I remember there was a movie that came out or that was coming out. It was called Chicago. I knew nothing about it other than the fact that they were casting 30 to 40-year-olds in it. And I was 15 at the time. And I told my agent that I wanted to go to the equity call, which is basically a more closed-in call. And he said, Brittany, you're 15 years old. This is a movie for 30 to 40-year-olds. Mm-hmm. The subject is very intense. Like, you can't go to this equity call. So I said, okay, I'll go to the open call. And I went to the open call, danced with all these dancers, and made it to the final cut and got the film. And
are we talking about Chicago with like Catherine Zeta-Jones?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I got to work with Catherine Zeta, Renee Zellweger, Richard Gere, Queen Latifah. That was my first job, real job.
Loved that movie.
Yeah, I
watched it so many times.
Right? I feel like it's very iconic. And I got to be in this all block tango, which at the time I didn't know what that was going to end up sort of like being for people, especially in musical theater.
Yeah.
And seeing Catherine Zeta win the Oscar for that, it was just such a pivotal moment in my career. I also got to witness the hardest workers I've ever to this day see work on set. They were exceptional, and they just sort of showed me at a very young age what it looks like to put your whole heart into something and to leave everything on the floor. And it was just the moment. I remember seeing Catherine Zeta in the makeup chair when we were all getting ready. I think we were getting ready for the scene with Richard Gere. It was called All I Care About Is Love. And she was prepping for her scene. And I saw her transform into Velma Kelly, and with the bob and the dark eyes. And I was like, oh, it was just that moment again where makeup did something so powerful to her. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool to do this for the everyday woman? Wouldn't it be cool? And I also thought about, I was starting to really get into doing makeup for friends and family. And a wedding day is very much like a performance.
Yeah.
Like you're the center of attention, whether you're into that or not. And how you look that day really sets the tone for your guests. And so that was sort of the impetus of me being like, oh, I know the pressure of that, and I want to be in that woman's corner on the day. And if it can't be me, I want to build a team that makes her feel so safe and in the best hands. And I want to train them and teach them and just find people that work at a standard that makes people feel like they're just going to be their absolute best, especially when on a wedding day, there's so much on the line.
Yeah.
So in 2006, I was 20. I decided to start a team doing weddings. At the time, I was in a Mervis show, and I was doing 2 show days on Saturdays and Sundays.
What show was that?
It was We Will Rock You at the time.
Oh,
Yeah. And so I would do my 2 show days, but before that, I would get up at like 4 a.m. and do a wedding and then a 2 show day. And if you're an actor or performer, a 2 show day takes a lot out of you. It's like you show up at the dressing room at 12 p.m., you leave at like 12 a.m., and then you repeat it the next day. But I would squeeze some weddings in beforehand. And it was at that point where I realized I really needed a team. I needed that support behind me because the inquiries were coming in and I couldn't facilitate all the work. So, and that was really a journey of like building that team that took many years, many ups, many downs, so many like lessons along the way. And that was kind of like the origin story of it, to answer your question.
No, that's a great origin story. It's such a cool evolution how you took performance and brought that into beauty. So you've become one of Canada's most recognized beauty entrepreneurs, and it began as luxury hair and makeup, but you've grown it into a brand beyond that. Makeup, beauty products. You have a brick-and-mortar studio. Tell me about that evolution.
Yeah, well, for a long time, I was doing makeup and hair services for all of our clients, whether I personally was doing the work or my team was, out of my home. And so I remember my husband and I, at the time, we had a stacked townhouse, which was about 900 square feet. And we would have women just like walking past our kitchen and our bedroom to go in the second bedroom to get their trial done. And that was for years. And I remember one time there was a bride that came into our home, and she brought, I kid you not, 11 women with her. And they were all in the 900 square feet home of ours. And I just remember at that point thinking, we need a space. we need a store. It's grown to the point where we can't have, this situation happening. I think so many entrepreneurs.
Did you have kids at the time?
Not there.
Okay.
But I did actually do it for a little while in our home with our Ivy, my daughter, as well, before we got this brick and mortar too. So there was quite a chunk of time. I actually started in my parents' home as well doing it. So it was my parents' home, the town home, our home. And then we got the brick and mortar in 2019, gutted it, renovated it, worked with an amazing designer to really bring my sort of vision for the space to life, which is really like a 1920s boudoir kind of vibe, to bring in that like theatrical element that I love. So that was the store side. The product line really began about a year before the pandemic. I was working on all of that. And it was perfect timing because our product line really kept our brand alive during the pandemic. the service side completely slowed down, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
So we've had many shifts and pivots over the years, which I think is very telling to entrepreneurship in general.
So launching a growing beauty business, especially rooted in premium services, it's a very competitive space. There are a lot of makeup artists out there, hairstylists and so forth. So I'm sure you've seen your challenges. Was there a pivotal moment early on when you had to redefine or really reaffirm what your fancy face vision was and what sets you apart from others?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. There's been a lot of iterations over the years,
Sure.
for sure. Most recently, I think what's been the biggest aha moment for me is that I don't want to be mass. I have no desire to compete with any of the brands that are in the likes of a Sephora, etc. For me, I love being niche. I love being boutique. That matters to me because I always want to feel like there's a face and people behind the brand. I don't ever want our brand to feel like it just sits on a shelf and hopes that you buy the product. I think my purpose is to really educate and empower women. And I think you need to a certain extent, remain boutique to be able to offer that, that thing that I'm trying to do. So the biggest shift for me has been, don't try to do all that. Just try to be really great in your own corner of the world, sort of thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
So when you started creating your own makeup and beauty line, what was the goal or vision there? Because I mean, you work with makeup every day. Obviously, you have your likes, dislikes, preferences. How did you create the specific products within the line?
Well, it was interesting because I started my company when I was 20, but now I'm 40. I just had my birthday not too long ago.
Belated.
Thank you. And so when I was younger, I loved full glam. I loved, the matte foundation, the Shape Tape concealer, the bronzers that had shimmer, like all of the things that as you age, you can't touch anymore. And what I noticed is that there just weren't a lot of fantastic formulas and products out there for women that are, I would say, 30 plus. A lot of women don't realize that the second you hit 35, you're categorically in the mature category when it comes to your skin type, which is a lot of people think 55, 65 is when you're in that category, but your skin texture changes a lot after 30. And I felt that. I was like, oh, I just am not reaching towards any of the product that was in my kit for these brides that have, obviously perfect skin. A lot of them have perfect skin, the more youthful skin. So that really was the impetus for me to start really sussing out what's going to work for someone over a certain age. Mainly myself, also noticing it on my mom too. My mom was of this sort of mindset, I can't wear anything on my face. I can't touch powder. And I thought to myself, well, no, like you can. We just have to find the right stuff. And that was really a journey and also a lot of fun because once you find the products that really work for you, you can look really youthful. But I find most women just don't know what to use. And then they actually end up aging themselves more because they're using foundations that are too light, powders that are too heavy, not the right placement, not the right lip shade. Like it's an art to do your makeup over a certain age. Yeah.
So your lineup consists of, I've seen lip glosses. I've seen.
Yeah. So we have a full skincare line.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in having one thing in each category. We're never going to launch like 5 face serums.
Yeah.
We have one stellar one. We have one great face cream. We have one eye serum that's really popular, a face oil. And then we have basically a full makeup line, but it's all like we don't have heavy foundations or heavy concealers. We have a BB cream, for example, because it really works on everyone. It's not just people that are over 35. My daughter could wear it as well, and she's 10. Not that she would, but maybe for performance or something like that. But yeah. So we can kind of cover everything when it comes to skincare and makeup.
And what role has customer experience and feedback played in shaping your product offerings? And how do you balance that with just like your own intuition and market demand?
I don't really listen that much to market demand. I focus more on the customer. We have a really great community when it comes to like our social scene. And they talk to us, which is really nice. We get consistent feedback. We ask for feedback all of the time. We hear what they're missing in their beauty routine. We also host makeup lessons a lot. So like we're really in tune and in touch with them. For me, when I'm not tapped into what a woman wants, I feel lost because, the only place that I can go is to, people in my community, people that support Fancy Face and like see what we're doing, but then also they love us so much that they're willing to tell us the truth of what they're looking for. And that I appreciate so much because, I think you always need to listen, you always need to grow. And if you're not, then you're going to become stagnant over time.
Yeah. And I mean, I imagine you get a lot of feedback too on socials as well, because I follow you. I've seen a lot of your content, and you have a really great way of presenting your products and services, but it seems very authentic, and you're sharing bits about your life. Tell me about your journey with just marketing and socials, because when you started the company, I mean, it was a very different landscape at that point. It's evolved a lot.
Yeah. I think that social media to a certain extent is an art, but I also think, there was a time where it felt really easy to grow. It felt easy to get new eyes on the brand. It does not feel that way anymore.
Yeah.
It's a totally different thing. I no longer feel that I fight for followers. I just want to serve the people that are in our community so well. I think word of mouth is still just a massive player when it comes to marketing, especially in beauty. I think you can just get so caught up in the numbers. And I will say, as an entrepreneur, there is such an intense pressure to perform on social media. And sometimes that can almost sort of like dim your light or like take something away from what you're doing because you feel like you need to post all the time. You're listening to these big people saying that you need to be active all the time. I find the stuff that resonates the most with our community is the most authentic version of who we are. When I show up without makeup and disheveled and, just like trying to be a mom that day, I find the like comments and DMs that I get far exceed the days when it's very polished and we're showing people like a very, kind of like magazine worthy aesthetic of the brand. I just think women want to see real women doing their thing.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, I think that rings true in what you post. Speaking of being a mom, I'm a boy mom, so I wasn't aware of this until recently, but apparently multi-step skincare routines have reached very young girls. And I was shocked by this. So I'm just curious, because you have a daughter, what your thoughts are on this. And more so from a makeup point of view, because I mean, good skin is a good practice to have. I don't know that we need to be using retinol at 6, but
it's interesting. I think anything that you make a really big deal with children, like for example, if I said to my daughter, you're not allowed to wear makeup ever until you're 16 or something like that, she's going to hide it. She's going to bring it to school. She's going to do it in the bathroom. Those are things that I did when I was younger. So if she wants to wear one of our coquettes, which is a lip tint, to school, sure, go ahead. I mean, and that's polarizing for some mothers, I'm sure. But I don't sexualize makeup. I don't think that it means anything other than you feel good. If she feels like her best self and she can go and she can learn and she can, then great. And what's nice is when you don't make a big deal about it, like my daughter has been surrounded by beauty since she was born.
Sure.
And she's really not that into it.
Yeah.
She really doesn't care that much about it. The odd time she'll ask to wear a lip tint.
Yeah.
The odd time she might want some blush. But yeah, it's so funny when they have full access, how they don't feel compelled to really want it. It's interesting. Yeah, I'm sure she'll get into it as she gets older, but
well, sure.
Yeah.
There's time for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at your brick and mortar location, I'm assuming you sell the products, but it's also a venue for events, because you were talking about you also host classes.
Yeah.
And what happens in the space?
Yeah. So we have a couple different like options of what can happen. So our store is open a lot. It's open 10 to 6 the majority of the days of the week. And so we always have beauty experts working there. So you can just walk in without an appointment and have one of our experts walk you through your beauty routine and help you with it. You can bring in your existing makeup bag. The makeup doesn't have to have fancy face products in it. You can ask for help. Yeah. We can tell you like, this is working great for you. This is not. Finish that. Maybe this needs to retire. Those kinds of things. Because I think a lot of women sort of, feel like they have some great product and they don't want to throw it out, as you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Just get advice on it is what we always say. So we have that option. We also do 30-minute express makeup. So you can come in. If you do a $75 spend, you can get your makeup kind of like express done. And a lot of women love that option. A lot of corporate women love that too. And then we also have obviously our formal hair and makeup services, makeup lessons. So we host one a month where you can come in. It's more of an intimate experience. There's about 7 people usually in our store at the time. There's a demonstration of an everyday makeup look. Then there's a sit down, like hands-on version of that as well, where you get to actually do the makeup and get critiques from an expert on our team. And then we also allow our rosé room to be rented for brides, because a huge thing that I noticed in the bridal industry is that hotel suites are not beautiful enough for photos for weddings. Like they're not bright, they're not airy, they don't feel bridal. Sometimes they're
a lot of them, because I've been in a few for bright. They're not big enough. They're not bright enough. They don't have the right furniture to facilitate easy application.
Yeah. And you don't have what you need in there. So we have rented our space out to quite a few brides. They bring in their dress. They all get ready. The photographer comes in. It's a beautiful setting. It feels almost like it's your sort of like makeup room. And so those are kind of just a few things that we do. We do a lot in there, but yeah.
So just a couple more questions on entrepreneurship before we move on to some rapid fire. If you were to go back to your 20-year-old self, what would you tell yourself today that you've learned that's so important about entrepreneurship?
It was really interesting somewhere along the way. It kind of has, I guess, maybe less to do with specifically the business, but I remember I was performing at the time. And I really wanted to focus on acting. And I was a dancer, a professional dancer. And I remember I had an actress who was a working actress. She was doing quite well at the time. Say to me, well, if you want to be an actress, you need to stop dancing. You can't be an actress and a dancer at the same time. And I took her advice. And I think it was the worst advice I've ever gotten from somebody, because dance was my first love, my first passion. And I think it's so important as you grow up to stay really connected with that thing that you loved as a child, because there's so much magic in that. So as a 40-year-old woman, I have now taken up dance classes again.
Oh, cool.
And it just feels so good. And the way that I tie that into the business side is that you have to have other stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like you have to have passions that are outside of your business. Makeup was a massive passion for me, but it became this thing. And for a time, it was really the only passion that I really like curated. And so I had to kind of find myself again and realize that I'm more than just the business. I'm more than just makeup. I have these other sides of myself too that feed in quite beautifully to the business. So that would be my advice for entrepreneurs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Such good advice.
Yeah.
If you're able to share, are there any new developments or what's next for Fancy Face?
Yeah. So we recently, it's interesting. I just spoke about this dance thing. So my daughter's now a competitive dancer.
Yeah.
And she's in her 3rd year of competitive dancing.
Okay.
And what was so interesting, because I grew up competitive dancing as well.
Yeah.
What was interesting is at the first competition we went to together, I sat in the audience. She was about to come on stage. I was watching all the numbers before and after her. And my one takeaway, I was so excited to see the evolution of dance because I hadn't danced really in quite a few years. So the evolution of dance itself was wonderful, but the makeup on stage looked like it had not evolved in 20 years. And I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I was like, how can something that's just so important on stage after you've put all this time, energy, effort, and you're presenting yourself, how could that have not evolved? So that was the impetus for me creating something called the Starlet Kit, which is a makeup kit for competitive dancers. We started with Ivy's dance studio. The studio founders have 2 studios, and they were
Which studio is it?
Canadian Dance Academy.
Okay, nice.
And Canadian Dance Unit. And the founders of those studios were so gracious to me and came up to me and said, would you be interested in doing a makeup kit for us for the studio? So they really inspired this.
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful to them for that because it's opened up this whole can of worms really that just ties together my first love with my second real love.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing to see young dancers wearing the kit. I mean, it feels so full circle. And then to see this whole new life brought to the studio on stage with like professionalism, just with like all of my background sort of tying into that. It's been such a fun journey that I'm really excited to continue to work on and to grow.
That's so cool. And it's something I've never really thought about, but you're so right. Like when I see my friends who have daughters, like they're going off to these competitions, they're wearing the same makeup I wore back in the day. It really hasn't changed. No. And it's kind of like this odd pageant queen makeup, which it doesn't need to be.
No, it doesn't need to be. And the thing that's so challenging for moms is they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're thrown into this like wild circus of competition and then you have to make your daughters somehow look stage ready.
Yes.
And there's nobody to teach you how to do that. So that was really the goal for us, is that we tie the Starlet Kit with education for dance studios and dance parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
So cool. All right. I'm going to throw some rapid fire questions at you. Cream or powder blush?
Cream always.
Yeah, me too. What does the heavy lifting, bronzer or blush?
Blush.
Your 5-minute face essentials.
Perk Up, which is a dark circle corrector.
Okay.
Our BB cream. I would say a great cream blush. I love watermelon sugar right now. Need a nude lip liner always. I would say our Coquette lip tint in Juliet is great. Browmance brow gel. I wear that every day. A killer mascara with a great lash curler. That's my 5-minute face. And it's involved, but it's mandatory.
The dark circle stuff, I feel like I need that. Is that from your collection? Okay.
Yes.
I'll be coming by. One trend you swore you'd never love, but now do.
I think I probably thought that I would have always really been into powder when I was younger. And now that I'm getting older, I will never subscribe to like a matte skin look.
No.
Speaking
of my next question, best tip or product for a glowy, dewy skin finish?
I would say absolutely without question putting on our High Glass. It's a facial oil, and using a little bit under your moisturizer. No matter what you put on your face, you're going to have that glow come through.
Bold lip or bold eye for a bride?
Bold eye. Yeah.
One product every bride must have in her touch-up kit.
Our Flawless face powder. It actually went viral. There's like 6 million views on what it does. It really just makes you look polished, airbrushed. I think you need it in your bag to touch up. Yeah.
Awesome. Biggest bridal beauty mistake you see over and over? feel like there's a lot of them, but
Way too coiffed hair.
Mm.
Way too coiffed hair. I think no matter what, you'll look back and think, what was I doing with my hair?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of studios that just overdo it. I think it's better to go a little bit more soft and natural with the hair. The dress and the jewelry and everything is doing so much. I think you can pare it back when it comes to the hair. Let the makeup be flawless and stunning, but don't overdo your hair. Yeah. Did I say that enough?
Current beauty trend you're loving and one you're ready to retire.
I think I'm ready to retire like a really, really natural aesthetic that was, becoming a thing during the pandemic and after too. I love makeup, I like wearing it. So I'm ready to retire that. And not to say that I'm not comfortable not wearing makeup. I love not wearing makeup too, but like bringing back a little glam. And I think I'll always love like a tanned, glowy goddess kind of look. I love my tanning water that I use 3 times a week. I swear by that. I love using like a cream highlighter. So just, looking super fresh.
And your go-to look when you want to feel instantly fancy.
I think it's just the fancy face aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, we've sort of become known for that sort of blushy look. I think if you have a nice amount of blush on the apples of your cheeks, you use sort of a matte bronzer through the crease of your eye, a nice like pinky or like mauvey lip that really sort of brings out a healthy version of you, then you're doing it right.
Amazing. I will take note. Thank you so much for coming on. For our listeners, where can they find you, follow you, shop the products?
So you can find our product line at fancyface.ca/shop, on social media at Fancyface Inc. And that's INC at the end, Fancyface Inc. And yeah, those 2 places are really good places to start.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.